Okay, Tom Collins' book, The Fourfold Path to Healing. You get this book in conjunction with this book, Nourishing Traditions. Now, they're not perfect. There's some limitations. I'm going to talk about those in a minute, or 2 or 3 or 4. But anyway, so we're talking about spiritual organization, which influences the matter organization of the human being, spirit and matter. And how do we find the spirit? Because the spirit is invisible. Well, actually, physics deals all the time with things it can't see. You can't actually see light, we see color. Certainly can't see gravity, we infer it from its effects. And, everybody can take the little experiment where you take a piece of paper and you put a bunch of iron filings on it and then you stick a magnet underneath it, and the magnet will organize the iron filings into a form or a shape. Okay? So the things that we're going to talk about here, the four-body problem, the way I talk about it over on the section in Eros, or the four-body structure. We have a physical body, a life forces or etheric body, an emotional body, and a mental body. And you can do this with self-observation, Now, what we get from natural science and what we get from things today that are said to us say basically, well, thoughts are something that the brain makes. It's produced by the matter. And your psychology, your feeling life is produced by the matter too, but it's got to do with hormones and all kinds of stuff like that. And then there is no life force. And one of the curious things, and this is pointed out by Rudolf Steiner when he gave his lectures to the doctors, was he said, he says, most of the ideas that medicine has is based on the study of the cadaver. That is, the body that's dead, when the spiritual element has fled it. Now you study the cadaver, and then you form your ideas on the basis of thinking that everything that was life in the organism that you're studying was based on the matter being alive, but never occurs to people. Of course, it did at that time. There are lots of people that talk about these things. It isn't like these are new questions, Okay. Now, how do I know things like this? How can I know things like this? What can I do myself while I'm waiting around for the natural science people to understand that there's 3 invisible bodies? These are good questions. I wish I had simple answers. You can do things where you learn to control your thoughts and feelings. And we will get to this. In my writing, particularly my book, Living, Thinking, and Action, which you can read for free online, there's a second essay, In Joyous Celebration of the Soul, Arts, and Music of Discipleship. There's very exact, precise directions in there for how to distinguish certain processes that go on in your inner life and to begin to bring your own will, your own ego or I-based will to play on these processes. Okay. I'm not going to go into that here, although I might in some later talks, but right now I'm just going to say that if you want to do the right kinds of careful observations and stuff, you can do this, and you can also, when you read Dr. Cowan's book, become educated in this. Now, he doesn't just, run a theory out. This is a very practical book. The Fourfold Approach is the first section. The Art of Medicine is the second section. And it has has a thing about how to be a patient, and under the Art of Medicine section it talks about infectious diseases, cancer, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, diseases of adrenal insufficiency, digestive disorder, chronic fatigue, women's diseases, men's diseases, weight loss, depression, back pain, arthritis, neurological diseases. And then it's got cooking instructions, therapy instructions, movement instructions, and resources. Now, why is it important to distinguish the physical body and the life force body and the emotional body and the mental body? Because how you heal yourself and how you help the doctor heal you is based on being able to make these distinctions, because you do something different for each thing. So, for example, we heal the physical body through nutrition. We learn to eat right, okay? And it's very difficult to do in the age in which we live, given that what's in the grocery store is so absent nutrition. Now we heal the life force body, or the ethereal body, through therapeutics, that is, medicines. Now remember I talked earlier about the immune system and the life force body, and the fact that in childhood diseases exercise this life force body. Just like you exercise the physical body, the disease exercises the life force body, and it acquires capacities that it needs later in life. And of course some people will go through their childhood and they will not get this kind of exercise to the degree they should, and when they encounter disease processes later in life, got problems. Now let me give an idea that I've acquired, and it probably should be understood that I am not a doctor. I am not trying to be a doctor, although I did live with an anthroposophical doctor for 3 years and had many lively discussions. And I've had all kinds of disease problems, and I don't just go to anthroposophical doctors. Okay? One, there aren't enough of them. Two, they can't always help with things that you need, Anthroposophical doctors that are good will send you to conventional doctors when it's required. They don't just take you off in some corner and pummel you with weird stuff. All right, the life force body, healing the life force body. Well, the life force body is a very interesting kind of thing. And there's different approaches that can be made, and when we get into physics and chemistry and some other things, and plants and stuff, I'll talk about this from another direction. But right now, let's just take the idea that with the life force body, one way to be aware of it in your own existence is, do you feel vital or not? Do you feel alive? Do you feel strong in a certain kind of way? Remember I talked earlier about stress and what happens when people who are seriously stressed and they all of a sudden can't keep up being stressed anymore and they stop and then they get sick. Well, they've exhausted that body. But I'm running out of time here, so I got to pause and come back to you.